Hello, and welcome to the 10th episode of Burning Questions, a podcast focused on reducing risk in your communities and answering some of your questions along the way. Each episode, we'll focus on one safety topic that we get a lot of questions about. We'll do our best to answer some of those questions, and we'll try and clear up any misconceptions about those topics along the way. If you have any questions you'd like for us to answer, leave a voicemail for us at 864-430-0510, or you can email us at bsfdpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll try and give you some answers in a later episode. On today's episode, we're talking about bathroom ventilation fans. We'll cover how they work, some of the risks they can pose, and what you can do to stay safe in your home. But before we dive in, let's take a moment and introduce our guests. One is Engineer Hayden Knapp, and the other is Lieutenant Heath Rogers. So, first off, how are y'all doing today?
Good, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. So, just so the listeners can get to know you as people, how long have each of you been in the fire service?
I've been in fire service for 6 years now at Bowling Springs.
6 years, and how about you, LT?
I've been here for 8.
So 8 years, 6 years. So Hayden, as an engineer with the department and you serve on our tiller, what kind of classes do you need to take so that you can better perform those duties?
Well, it starts with your basic entry-level firefighter classes. It goes up from what we call like 1152 to Firefighter 2. Just multiple things that are kind of the basics of what you need to actually go in, fight fire, what's the root cause of it, and how to prevent it. And then there's more specialized training as a driver that you'll get going down the road, like EVDT, which is Emergency Vehicle Driver's Training. And then you have your pump operations classes.
Okay. And then as far as an officer's position, Lieutenant Rogers, what kind of classes did you take to help prepare you to be in the role that you're in?
So it goes into Fire Officer 1, Fire Officer 2 classes, then there's leadership classes, and we even get into other classes such as community risk reduction classes to help us with this side of our job.
So the topic today is bathroom ventilation fans, and we all know that they can pose a pretty serious fire risk. Have you guys run into any situations out in the field where you've seen these things either fail or they've led to an issue where there's either smoke in the home or a fire?
Absolutely. I think it actually is more common than the average person would think. Even in my personal home, I actually had an issue with it as well one time, and it's something that we need to be cognizant of and looking out for.
People don't realize, you go into the bathroom, you flip that switch on, the fan comes on, and even forget to turn it off when they walk out, and they just walk out of the bathroom, it stays running, and we've seen that cause issues where next thing you know, you're starting to smell something burning and the bathroom fan has failed.
So you mentioned the bathroom fans failing. Can one of you two explain to our listeners why these things fail, and are they just there to remove odors or do they serve another purpose?
Not only do they remove odors, they also maintain good air quality by removing moisture as well.
Heath, when we're pulling moisture through that fan, can you explain to our listeners why is that an issue for the bathroom exhaust fan?
So moisture leads to mold and mildew growth, and these fans are vital to get that moisture out of the air because it can cause potential health issues and structural damage to your home.
So preventing mold and mildew growth, that's really good on the health side of things, but as far as the fire side goes, the design of these fans is so that the air moving through actually cools that motor, but when you introduce moisture into that, and then you also have the particulates that come off toilet paper from the linens that you use for your towels, those particulates can accumulate on the motor itself via that moisture, and that reduces that motor's ability to cool using the air. When we say that there's a fire risk, usually these fans, they're only supposed to be on for 10, 20 minutes at the most, which I know with social media, some of us are in there a little bit longer than that. But when it comes down to it, it doesn't seem like it should be that big of a risk. But how many home fires or structure fires are we seeing due to bathroom exhaust fans?
According to the National Fire Protection Association, almost 17,000 home structure fires were reported due to appliances in 2019. While bathroom fans weren't the sole cause, leaving them running unattended significantly increases that risk.
That's a lot of structure fires, and even though I know bathroom exhaust fans weren't the only appliance that was the main cause of those 17,000 fires, I'm still looking for the connection between a bathroom exhaust fan that might be surrounded with a little bit of toilet paper residue or toilet paper dust how do we get from a little bit of accumulated dust on a motor due to moisture to an overheating motor? Hayden, can you better explain that?
Yes, that's a great question. Basically, over time, that motor, it's going to heat up and it's going to release oil, but that lint, dust combined with the oil, that's a really flammable fuel package right there. And as that motor's spinning and the bearing's wearing down, heat is being produced mixed with a very flammable fuel package, and that's where you get some of these issues at.
Well, and I guess since it's an air-cooled fan, and when we surround it with a bunch of lint, it's not getting the air it needs to cool down, correct?
Exactly right.
And the takeaway for the average homeowner is that this is not any fault of theirs. They're using an appliance that was built with the home just like it's intended. They may leave it on for too long, but the average homeowner doesn't think about that. How would just an average homeowner or possibly a new homeowner, how do they prevent these things from happening in the future?
So regular maintenance is key to that. Routinely cleaning the bathroom fan to prevent that lint and dust buildup is very crucial. It's a simple task that can go a long way ensuring your safety. Going into the other side of it, outside of maintenance, if you're worried about leaving it on because it's just on a normal switch, you can also consider installing a timer switch on it for that added peace of mind for when you do forget to cut that bathroom fan off.
And so when it comes down to that, let's say somebody's in a home, like my home was built in 1982. It didn't come with any bathroom exhaust fans installed, and there still aren't. But if your home was built in the 90s, early 2000s, there's a good chance that they came in the home when you purchased the home or when the home was built. That means that there are some fans out there that are, between 20 and 30 years old that are still the original fans. The average homeowner doesn't think about this, like we said, but what is a good sign that somebody might need to think about replacing that bathroom exhaust fan?
If you're having issues with it, how it's working, if it's making weird noises.
When the switch is flipped on that fan and you hear it's trying to wind up, but it sounds like there's something in the way of it, it's probably an indication that the fan's not in great health. Chris, can you tell me a little bit about the statistics behind some of these fires, and are the risks statistically significant?
Oh, absolutely. NFPA reported in 2019 that out of those home fires that we talked about, the primary cause was linked back to an appliance. Those resulted in over 200 deaths, 1,300 injuries, and right around $720 million in property damage. And again, like we said before, all of those didn't start with the bathroom exhaust fan, but the bathroom exhaust fan is a very leading cause for appliance fires.
Well, thank you, Chris. Thanks for sharing those statistics.
It all boils down to this: safety. The safety of you and your loved ones should take priority. You want to take proactive steps to maintain your bathroom ventilation fans, which includes cleaning them regularly, and if they start making any noises, that you replace the bathroom fan and making sure that you don't run them any longer than 20 minutes.
I'd like to make a suggestion. It's something I was thinking about. Every time you check your smoke alarms, check your bathroom fans as well.
That's really good advice. So just to wrap everything up, we've talked about how these bathroom fans work. We talked about why they're in place. It's not just for removing odors, it's for removing moisture. We've talked about the different hazards associated with them. We went over some statistics. And then we talked about some safety tips of how you can keep you and your loved ones safe. I wanted to take this moment to just say thank you to my guests, Engineer Hayden Knapp and Lieutenant Heath Rogers. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for letting us be here.
So that's all for today's episode of Burning Questions. We hope you found the information helpful in making your home safer. If you have any questions or you want to learn more, don't hesitate to reach out. This podcast was made possible by the Boiling Springs Fire District in Greenville, South Carolina. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, stay safe out there.
Hashtag have a fire safe day.